Hey folks, welcome back to Meditation for Normal People. Just a reminder that we offer private and group classes online. So if you're keen, medfornormal@gmail.com. The details are at the end of the video and also in the YouTube comments below. All right, quickly on the position that you have when you're meditating. Two things really. One is position yourself so that if you happen to open your eyes for any reason during the meditation, you're not looking at the screen, whether you're looking at me on a desktop or you're watching or listening to me on a phone or a mobile device. The reason for that is that if it does happen, you don't want to be distracted or focusing on something that you don't need to. It's better to just be looking at whatever happens to be in front of you. Something else is the location that you meditate in. If you do it in the same place, if you're doing it regularly, especially, doing it in the same place and facing the same thing, whatever it happens to be, will eventually instill the ability to just settle in a bit quicker. It's just Pavlovian behavior. It'll just happen. All right, well, let's get started.
Okay, take a moment to look around with your eyes open and just arrive. You might gently move your head left and right, wherever your gaze happens to fall. Take a few breaths and just notice what's around you. And there's nothing we need to do. There's no agenda we have for the next little while. Any goals you have for the next few minutes, you can just let those go. And sit comfortably and close your eyes. And raise the top of your head up towards the ceiling or the sky gently. And let your chin fall a little bit downward as if you're holding a grapefruit between your chin and your chest. Just gently forward. You should feel the vertebrae in the back of your neck just opening slightly. And then sitting tall, just melting down from your head through your shoulders, relaxing down past your back to your seat. And if you're not leaning back, you may want to lean forward and try it out so that your back is unsupported and you're sitting erect. Maybe curve your back a little bit, your lower back, just so that everything is sitting comfortably and balanced. If you like at any point, you can just lean back again. Down past your legs to the floor beneath you, beneath where you're sitting, just down through the ground. Just resting grounded there for a moment as you breathe. And gaze into the darkness behind your eyes. Let your gaze rest very wide so that your peripheral vision is also engaged. And stare deep into that darkness. Notice your field of vision is just as deep here as it is with your eyes closed. And there's actually a fair bit to see. You might see light and shadow arising and subsiding, points of light, or sense of movement. And just take a moment to see, just seeing. Notice there's no structure to this space, there's no border. Let your gaze rest wide. Allow your awareness to encompass everything around you, space around you, on either side, above and below, behind you. almost a sphere expanding outward with no limit to it. And the space behind your eyes articulates that space, that broader space. And as you breathe here and you look outwards, you see outwards. When a thought occurs, don't push it away, and there's no reason to rush back to your sense of awareness. Instead, just let your focus rest on that thought as an object. And notice as it dissipates. And as it dissipates, in its place is the sense of spaciousness and the breath. When you find yourself distracted, come back to the breath and rest on the breath. Wherever it's the most vivid, as you breathe in and breathe out. And when you feel anchored back to the breath, just extend your awareness out again to what you're seeing and the space around you. It's almost a rhythm. When you notice a train of thought, just a single thought, trails away and you come back to the breath, you anchor there. You might even find yourself a little bit amused at this behavior of your mind as you come back. And then let your awareness expand outward. Become aware now of sound. Just hearing. Notice that sounds come and go without any effort on your part. They arise and subside just like what you see. In fact, what you're seeing and what you're hearing is occurring in that same spaciousness without any border or structure. When you focus on this field of sound, this soundscape, the same way that you would focus on the breath, you can anchor to sound as well. You can focus your awareness distinctly on sound and what comes and goes. When you feel anchored, or when you're resting in sound, you can expand outward again. Just seeing. Let that seeing articulate that spaciousness above, behind, to the left, and to the right. Your gaze very wide, and your mind very wide. might even bring gentle curiosity to that spaciousness. What are you going to see or hear next? When you notice a train of thought or a thought, you're a little bit amused by it as your focus comes back to sound. Rest there and then expands outward again, very wide. And just seeing. Seeing as wide as your mind. Without any real effort. Now with your gaze wide, and resting with your mind wide, as these sounds come and go, as the sounds articulate the spaciousness behind your closed eyes, that you're in fact seeing very far, gently open your eyes. Leave them wide. Doesn't matter what's in front of you. Just, in fact, the space here with your eyes open is exactly the same as the space that you see with your eyes closed. It's just as structureless. It occurs in exactly the same space as the sounds that's coming and going. And again, if you find yourself distracted, just come back to sound. And then rest again with your gaze wide. And that sense of spaciousness extending outward, behind and above, in front, to either side. Okay, close your eyes again. Take a few deep breaths. Maybe stretch a little bit gently or wiggle your toes, your fingers, and yeah, open your eyes and just come back.
All right, welcome back. That was sound for a quick 12 minutes or so. Something to know about focusing on sound is that it's analogous to focusing on breath. Just like when you focus on breath as it arises and subsides, doesn't take any effort. And it's also an anchor that you can come back to. When you notice you're distracted, you just come back and rest on the breath. There's nothing that you need to do with the breath. The same thing with sound. When you find yourself distracted, when you focus on the soundscape, in a sense, the space in which the sound occurs, and sounds are coming and going, it's quite easy to focus on that itself, the same way you would the breath. What's interesting about doing it with sound is that you can anchor on sound, but because it's expansive, then it's kind of easier to get into a point where you're in this sort of kind of spacious, mindful state. You're kind of halfway there by the time you do it. Something else that's pretty cool is that you can do it in public, eyes open or eyes closed. I like to do it on public transport, sitting down. I do it with my eyes closed because if they're open, people think I'm some kind of axe murderer because I'm just looking the same direction with my eyes open the whole time. But yeah, if you do that, you'll notice a huge difference, especially as you practice, between how you hear things and what you hear compared to when you're focused on hearing one thing specifically or focused on a phone or whatever it is. Anyway, that's it for today. If you like this, then check out our classes, first week free, details at the end and in the comments below. Have a great time. Bye.